Hello guys, my name is SaulApeMan and the new PTR just dropped. We are expecting, some fine-tuning, some bug fixes to the previous version, the first version, but Blizzard decided actually to make huge changes. So let's start with that. Because what they are changing, of course, very little, is the fabric of Warcraft 3 reality, which is the armor attack table. And it's here in general. It's the one line of text that changes everything. Piercing damage against heavy armor decreased from 100% to 90%. So of course I tested if the value is implemented correctly, so I changed the rifleman so he deals exactly 10 damage. And he has piercing damage type, and we are going to test it on this ghoul that has 0 armor value. That's very important, so there is no additional reduction, and the armor type is heavy. And in the past, because it was 100% multiplier, it would deal 10 damage. But on the live patch, we have 340, right? We attack once, and we test our result, it's 331. So this works correctly. By the way, then with the power of the Twitch chat, they told me, so just check the constant table. And what is funny with this table, because the game actually stores those values, is they call the heavy armor large. Armor type, so yes, piercing versus large / heavy 0.9. This changes everything, but I spent some time on thinking about how the potential matchups in 1v1 pro level can change, and in my opinion this change is actually very big. So in Human Mirror I think there will be no changes, and there are some matchups where the change is going to be huge. For example, in Undead Mirror, one player used to play like Ted Fiends, so DK Fiends, and now, because you fight versus skeletons, they have heavy armor, you fight early versus ghouls, they have heavy armor, it's just going to be 10% worse. Similar with Polar Rifle, similar if in Nidelf versus Nidelf Mirror. Of course, on pro level you see a lot of Demon Hunter versus Demon Hunter, right? But it's another buff to Hunts. Why? Because Hunts with upgrade, they have heavy armor. If opponent is trying to defend from them, will make a lot of archers, or maybe even dryads, and it's all piercing versus heavy armor. And there is so many examples, Farseer Headhunter in Orc Mirror and so on. So definitely yes, I will try to keep eye on it, but it's hard to predict after just seeing this like that. But at least it gives, in my opinion, us some estimation, and feel free to not agree with this table, but I think yes, a lot of matchups are affected by a lot in early game, in the mid game, and even in the late game. Next big change is actually nerf to Hunt, and the nerf is very specific. Huntress glaives will no longer bounce to and from structures. What does it mean? Okay, so we have a Huntress, and this Hunt is attacking a building, this particular farm, and in the live server it would bounce to another buildings, but it's not bouncing. Okay, so what if I will take a peon and I will start repairing the farm, and look at this, it's not bouncing, So if you attack the building, it's not going to bounce between buildings or two units. What if you attack unit that is repairing? Let's see about that. So I have this peasant here, he's repairing, I attack. And look at this, the farm is full HP, and my peasant is escaping, and there is no bounces to the buildings, there is bounce to units. Last but not least, if you attack a unit, yes, with this upgraded Hunt with Moonglaive, it will attack all of 3 targets, as we can see, so it's bouncing only with the units. And this is actually pretty impactful, right? Because in the past you could just right click, for example, Human Main, then the human will bring all of his peasants to repair, and Huntress, they will attack the main and they will kill the peasant repairing. But in this patch, this PTR is not going to happen. So this base trading, base sieging by Hunt is not as good. Fighting is still good without structures, but if there are structures involved, is a big nerf. Another big change, of course, the Death Knight Ultimate. I would like to remind everybody that yes, Death Knight Ultimate now should give us the abilities that unit had upon dying, right? So in the past it didn't work on the first iteration of the PTR. We have Shaman with Bloodlust, Witch Doctors with Healing Wards, we have this Makura Tidal Lord, amazing minion with Cleave and with Devotion Aura, we have a Kodo that can devour, and so on. And let's prepare the corpses. Now Death Knight is here to revive, and look at this. The units are on Master, right? So yes, that's true, it's kind of work. It's kind of sucks, you know, that it's, for example, when we have a Witch Doctor, even on Master ability, yes, he has the extra regen, but you will never be able to cast Healing Word, because yes, the Healing Words, they cost 150 mana, right? So they are new. Okay, maybe at the end, we'll see about that. But yes, Kodobi still doesn't have aura, but in the PTR it says that they are working on it, just takes more time. But yes, there is no passives, so the passives are still not there. Units still can build, right? So that's pretty good. And I'm just curious, out of the curiosity, yes, the Witch Doctor exploded before giving us the possibility to have the healing. But guys, it's more exotic than that. Look, so it's the same example, and look at I'm the red player here, right? Red player. And I have my shaman, and this shaman is only on update training. I have my red player, Spirit Lodge, and I can go for adept training. I can go for adept training for the Witch Doctors. So what happens when we revive them? Are we going to get the abilities for free? Let's see about that, ladies and gentlemen. So Farseer will prepare the corpses again. Death Knight is going into position, and let me tell you, you get the upgrades. Look, I get the shaman, I have the Witch Doctor, I click on the Spirit Lodge, I have the upgrades! And my shaman is also Master Shaman! So, ladies and gentlemen, is it important in 1v1? People are screaming, Saul, you are getting excited about this, but is it a 1v1 change? Not really. Maybe if you play solo Death Knight Masgark Slaming, then you can in 1v1 get into level 6. But what is important in FFA? In FFA, players have this big dream of getting Bloodlusted Frostworms or something. And now, because you have the Master, what you need to do, right? You need to just steal a peon, make a Great Hall, then upgrade Great Hall, produce Spirit Lodge. With Spirit Lodge, you will have the Master abilities already there. So you don't need to go tier 3, you need to double research the Master ability. What it requires you to kill and revive one Shaman on Master, and then and one Peon, of course, or you can just possess Peon with the Banshee, doesn't matter. But yes, it's much easier in FFA to get into the double race now with the Death Knight ultimate. In 1v1 it doesn't matter, and to be honest, I don't know if it should be like that. It can ruin 4v4 FFA. Let me know what you think. And lastly, before I forget, there was a question in the Twitch chat, do you get the upgrades, you know, so attack armor upgrades, and the answer is not, right? So I will do the same. So I have my Fiend is 0-0, right, upgraded. This Fiend is free upgraded, so I'm going to use Chain Lightning. I'm going to prepare my corpses, and yes, the Fiend that we resurrect is 0-0, because they are just 0-0, and the Fiend that we have is still 0-0 as well. Even the Corpse Fiend was free upgraded. And now the change that everybody is talking about is that Blizzard buffed Panda in the new PTR. Movement speed, Panda is like now the fastest hero, like is as fast as Archmage, as fast as the Blade Master, for example, as fast as Demon Hunter. It goes from 290 to 320, so it's like the Panda got half boost of speed basically, so it's a big buff. Also the damage over time from Breath of Fire was increased, and it's all about why Panda is getting this love, because in the first iteration of the PTR, the area of effect was nerfed by a lot. So, okay, this is Panda level 1, usually use Breath of Fire level 2, right? So this Breath of Fire level 2 Drunken Haze, so let's see what's going to happen. I cast Drunken Haze, and I need to get very closely, and I use Breath of Fire, and it's basically much harder to aim. We need to think about Panda like about TC with Shockwave basically. So yes, the Breath of Fire is strong, and Blizzard said that it's all about having, you know, a Breath of Fire in line with the animation. So you know what I did? Because there is so many changes to this Panda, I just decided to play versus computer on PTR and to check how it feels, and something hilarious happened. Okay, so what do you see here is me playing versus computer with Panda first, and you know, I'm just winning versus computer. Yes, I can win versus computer, insane, big deal. I have Panda level 5, right? And yes, I want to, you know, to test the Panda a little bit and keep eye on the burrows on the top left. I don't know why, but computer decided to remove the peons. And look at this. We are going to analyze this frame by frame. So I have Panda level 5. Remember that I'm not the best player ever, right? But I'm here and I see the peons. Look at this. I'm clicking with my, you see my mouse cursor at the peon. And I use the ability like on the peon, you see on the first one. So I thought, you know, because the peons from the top are coming as well, you know, it's just going to like hit them all. So look, I acquired the target. The Panda is starting the animation. Panda is very close to the peons and the breath of fire is going to happen. Look at this. But the peon on the bottom is moving and breath of fire is happening. Look at this wave and bam! The wave went through, and as you can see from this angle, under the animation, I think we can agree that all of the peons are near, you know, this super big breath of fire, but in reality, I connected to only one peon. So, ladies and gentlemen, yes, it's all about the targeting. I don't know if the pro players are going to be able, you know, to target super well, because it's all about targeting. If the spell is changing. So, to be honest, from my experience, it's hard for me to tell you are the values good or enough, because it's all about targeting, right? I got one peon here, and I don't have that much experience, but look, like the targeting wasn't that bad in my opinion. Look at this, again. I'm here, I target, and the breath of fire went through, and only one peon got hit. It got hit by a lot, but yes, maybe, you know, the better players are going to be able to target better, but my conclusion with the Panda is actually required testing. You can check the numbers, you need to put one pro player with the Panda versus another pro player without the Panda, and this is how we need to test it, and the one guy with the Panda needs to like play 20 hours, so to get the muscle memory in tag with the new aiming, basically. So those are the most important like melee balancing changes, and now I just want to show you like quickly that Blizzard actually changed this. So the Brilliance Aura, not on Archmage, but there are some monsters in Warcraft 3 that have Brilliance Aura. It was, the value wasn't like showed properly in this tooltip under the Brilliance Aura, and now it used to show 0 and it's 0.5, so that's nice. And guys, those all of the changes that you need to understand about balance, but now I'm going to say big thank you for Blizzard for fixing a lot of quality of life bugs and actually adding some new quality of life features in this PTR variation. So I will show you them. So now we are in the hotkeys menu that can access from just being in the game, and look at this. There's a lot of hotkeys, right? Especially if somebody wants to experiment a little bit with the control group hotkeys. And let's put something crazy to the control group hotkey, for example, mouse 5, for example, P. So that's pretty weird group for hotkeys, and you know, I don't judge, everybody has their opinion, but what Blizzard added is pretty cool. Look at this. They added a new menu, so you go to help, menu, help, and if you scroll down, it's basically, it shows you all of the hotkeys that you have in the game. It's being explained, and if you scroll down enough, you see the preview of the hotkeys you have, right? So if you are like setting up the hotkeys, you don't understand them, you can read the description and so on. It even shows you what you assign. So this is a pretty cool feature, especially for the new players, and even for me, like old school player. I'm definitely going like to read some descriptions here. I'm going to make sure that I set up every single hotkey as I wanted, explaining Control Enter, Shift Enter, and stuff like that. So this is amazing, and this is new. Of course, there are still some imperfections, for example, with the hotkeys. For example, this toggle ally health bar. So usually people use just health to have health bars always on, but if somebody wants to toggle, you can't change the hotkeys. And it's pretty funny because Blizzard said that they fixed implementation of toggle health bar hotkeys, and they didn't. You change them and they don't work. Trust me, I tested, so this is like a big feedback kick. Of course, you can find every single change in my document, in my Google Sheet that I'm attaching to this document. But I want to focus here on the cool things. For example, Blizzard said, change the ordering of mercenaries so that it's possible to assign QWERTY or like ASDF, you know, the same combination of keyboards, to all the camps without conflict. And this is funny. Look at this. We go to the neutral, and there is so many mercenary caps, and they have different mercs, and sometimes the mercs are the same, right? They're the same, but if you want to have ASDF, SDF, ADS of all of those mercs, you need to make sure that there will be no collision. So, for example, in one camp, you have the Kobold Geomancer on D and another in F, so the game would not know what to do. And I actually tested it, and ladies and gentlemen, there is no collision. There's all of the merc camps, there are all of the mercs, and it never happens that on slot 1, 2, 3 or 4 you have the same, you can't have the same mercs like somewhere in different slots, right? Because it breaks these ergonomics of ASDF or Q over T, right? So this I tested, and this is amazing that Blizzard thought about this. But yes, there are still some stuff missing. For example, like Entangled Goldmine is still not there, and you can't assign the. You can only have a hotkey to make it, but you don't have hotkeys to operate it, like load a wisp, remove all wisps from Entangled Goldmine. Blizzard also fixed something, and then I don't understand the patch notes, so maybe I will use this time to talk about this. So they said, removed hotkeys for passive abilities. For example, here, the Mountain Giant, it used to be bugged, and right, you have a passive abilities already researched. What is a passive ability? Simple. For example, everybody knows Knights, right? You have a beautiful Knight, and the Knights, they have this passive ability that gives them more HP, right? Animal War Training. So if you research Animal War Training, you know you can't use these abilities just bonus to HP, a very simple passive ability, right? And it's the same with the MGs. So inside of the Ancient of Lore, you can research them, right? So for research ability, you need a hotkey because actually click this. But when the MGs, they get the ability, it's just passive. And you can assign hotkeys here, it's perfect. But Blizzard said, removed hotkeys for the passive abilities. Hotkeys for learning passive abilities still exist. That's perfect. The team is aware of an issue where resistant skin and hardened skin hotkeys still appearing, and they are not appearing. I don't know, maybe they fixed this last moment, and you know there was some miscommunication with this, the post and the team. But yes, those kind of issues that we want to see, that's something that apparently shouldn't work, actually works well, so don't worry about this. And now I think in this neutral tab, the biggest problem is, of course, that marketplace is a mess. Imagine that somebody opens the marketplace like, oh my god, I need to assign hotkeys to all of those items. In reality, you can't even use hotkeys to buy those items because you can't buy items that appear in the marketplace via hotkey. At least we don't have conflicts here, but yes, this should be changed. And big thank you for Blizzard for adding Nether Dragon Roost into this, because yes, it kind of was bothering me that we have all dragons but not Nether dragons. Last but not least, Blizzard made sure that this key conflicts feature has access also to inventory hotkeys. What I'm talking about, for example, at Gnome 7 in my hero inventory is where I keep my TP, right? It's a default position. Let's say I want to use it by clicking a hotkey. And the game immediately screams on me and says, so there is so many issues here. And look at this. When I go to human, I click to, let's say, paladin. And for me, I want to use my holy light with A. But imagine I have TP, scroll teleportation on my paladin. I click A. The game doesn't know if I want to use holy light or I want to teleport out from here. And it's very good that the hotkey like manager is screaming on me, because indeed it should be fixed. And when I change the inventory to, let's say, default one, it's not screaming at me anymore. So I think the key conflicts is like working super well, and I love this feature. Last but not least, I would like to talk about the bugs, because there are two bugs that are still present, and Blizzard said that they fixed one, but actually they didn't. I didn't address this also in the new PTR iteration. So what it's all about? It's about Orb of Slow and Orb of Lightning, the Orb Orc. So the two orbs that have chance to prog, right? There you'd never know if you will prog it or not, because there is some chance less than 100. And what is the issue? So those are enemy footies, right? So when I go with move command close to them, or I even move command on them, right? Then Archmage, they will still start attacking me because they're enemy. And look at this. I'm attacking, I have the orb. You may say, Saul, be patient, the orb will proc at some time, and it's not proccing. Because when Archmage auto-acquired targets, I didn't tell him to actually attack, you know. I just sent him with move command, or he was idle, you know, and then some enemy unit appeared close to him. He'll auto-acquire target, and the orb is basically only giving us +5 damage, but there is no this sweet orb effect that we want. So in this example, I would just says, okay, attack this particular footman. And to not bring the other heroes. Look at this, the Orb of Slow is already working. I changed the target, and it will proc on the other hero, on the other one as well. Of course, there is a chance to it. We are just waiting. Do it, proc, and it procced finally, right? So it works. But yes, it's all about the auto-targeting. What is funny, the melee heroes, they don't have this problem, right? So I give orb to my my Blade Master, I send him with the right click, right? So with the move command near the footies are starting to attack, and yes, the melee heroes, they are auto-acquiring without any issue, right? So please fix this for orcs and for humans, basically, because yes, when you buy orc, you would like to your orc to have the auto-acquire. And last but not least, I'm going to make it quick because you probably know, but this is the bug that I found, at least that I'm aware of. So yes, we have MK with Orb of Slow and with Bash, right? And this is an enemy Spellbreaker, so it's a spell immune unit, but look, we are attacking him, right? So the Orb effect will go off, there was no auto-acquiring, but it's a spell immune unit that we all slowed down and we bashed. So as you can see, Bash works versus Breakers, and even Orb effect works versus Breakers, right? As you know, giving orb to a melee hero, it makes it able to attack air unit, right? So we expect the same ability, right, for MK. So we send the command to bash and slow down the destroyer, right? So the MK is attacking, he got the order, it just takes some time. Yes, look, the Orb of Slow effect proc, and let me tell you, I tested it, for some reason the bash won't proc, right? But yes, that was it, the most important changes in this patch, and I would like to use this opportunity to say big thank you for Blizzard for working on it and to listening to the feedback from community, and I would say big thank you to the community, especially Mr. Witty and Mr. Back to Warcraft that reacted to my previous video, so maybe some of those ideas went to Blizzard directly, who knows. But yes, thank you for working on it. And yes, in this video I'm not commentating about the balance stage of things. I wanted to just show you what is new and is it works, because at PTR sometimes it doesn't. Make sure to sub to the YouTube channel, because I will publish a lot of shorts, you know, showing a lot of those concepts like in a single video. And yes, thank you for watching, and I'm excited for the next iteration of the PTR, because yes, Warcraft 3 is getting actually better and better, and definitely much easier to tune in for a new players. With the hotkey system like that, there is no longer need to change the text file. Thank you guys for watching, see you in the next one. Bye bye.